What up, though? This is your boy Mike D, host of Wrestling from the 313. And today, my guest is Professor Bear. He is the president of the Wrestling Society Network. What up, though? And welcome to the 313.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm always welcome to having new guests and having people come on and tell their story and just talk some wrestling.
Man, I don't know if you're like me, but who in the world thought that we would be blessed to be able to talk about things we like and love?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and it's cool, because podcasting give us that opportunity, and not just that, just social media, with all these platforms and everything. You know, we living in an age now where it's just like, a 9 to 5. You don't really have to do that if you just put the hard work in your podcast and grind it out. It can turn into good things.
Oh, definitely. And I was told a long time ago that if you get a job that you love, the work is not hard. And man, it just seems that way for me,
Yeah,
putting in this work for not just myself, but just for wrestling fans in general.
definitely. And it's just like I heard somebody on social media say podcasting is the new mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of agree with that, but it's just like it's so many podcasts. Everybody got different tastes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy to be out here. I've been doing this less than a year, and a lot of good things have happened for me, and I'm just gonna continue to put the work in until I get to where I want to be.
Man, and again, I will be so happy to do anything I can to help you reach your goal. That's the thing about my platform, that we are, when we say the Wrestlers Society Network, we really emphasize on society,
Okay.
because people, it's easy to do something by yourself and try to get there, but it's so much funner, so much atmosphere that you can do together. Maybe, what doing this, it's we have a YouTube page,
Okay.
and we also have a 2K um, promotion.
Oh.
And I,
Okay.
I never thought in my wildest dreams that a 2K promotion, that we would get seen overseas, have fans of that. And we were doing anywhere from 6,000 to 15,000 views. And that was mind blowing.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's where I'm trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? And just like I said, I'm just gonna keep grinding, putting the work in, and just putting making wrestling from the 313 a platform, not just for podcasters to come tell their story, but for professional wrestlers too. Since I've been doing this, um, I've had the pleasure of interviewing wrestlers. Um, a promoter from the UK. I was able to, interview him, and it's just been real fun. And other podcasters that are wrestling fans too, having them on there. And I've even jumped on there by myself sometimes. So it's cool. Everybody got different tastes. Everybody is willing to support, and the wrestling community has just been so cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of the things where everybody is trying to compete. Nobody's putting each other down. It's just like, hey, let me be on your show. Cool. You can come on mine. It's just everybody is being supportive. So that's the one thing that I can say. Starting this journey, everybody has just been mad cool for real.
Yeah. And like I said, I love that about it. And you said it earlier, different takes on one thing. No one person in this podcast is going to be 100% right. There's different views, and understanding that maybe their view you didn't think about, and gives you a whole new thought and appreciation for something that you were dead set against. Just being able to talk about it and get on air and joke about it, and then you like, wow, man, I didn't think about it like that. That man, looking at it that way, that makes more sense.
Yup, definitely. And I know I've been on my podcast and different little videos I put on TikTok, and I made predictions, and I know I've been wrong about it, but um, like you said, it's just having fun with it, and just not only that, just being respectful of the business. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people make predictions just on just hate and just emotion. You know what I'm saying? It's just it don't have to be like that in wrestling. Wrestling don't have to be like how pro sports is, and it's just crazy how people are going back and forth with WWE and AEW. Like I think I put it on my page that to me it kind of feels like the Jordan and LeBron debate a little bit. It's like why are y'all why are y'all arguing about AEW and WWE when this is what we've wanted for so many years after WWE bought WCW? We wanted another promotion to be competition. Now that we got it, and yes, they're not at the level of WWE, and they probably never will be. We still have that second alternate, that second option to watch, and it's just like people are still not satisfied.
I agree with you 1,000%. It's that oh, I can't think of it, but people, they always want to be negative about things, and it's unnecessary because, like you said, we are living in a time we're going. For me, it just feels like a second boom of wrestling,
Yeah.
and man, be happy about it. And look at a lot of these independent promotions. Man, they're doing great work and
Yeah.
doing things, and that's why, again, well, let me give you a little background on the network, on
Okay.
our society. We were formed in 2017. The owner, Brady Owens, he had a dream and he wanted to get that wrestling podcast up and going in different things. Well, he ran into the problem of trying to do everything himself, plus holding down not one, but two full-time jobs. He just, yeah, he couldn't do it. So he put it on pause for a minute. And 2021, he decided he was going to give it another shot, but he wanted to have a good team with it to have that same feeling and everything. So he put out a Facebook post asking anybody want to be on the podcast.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing about it, me and my at the time fiance, now my wife, we were sitting there, and I just happened to be reading it, and I told her, I said, "Look at this." She's like, "You need to get on. That's right up your alley." I was like, "Nah, nobody ain't gonna want to hear any wrestling jargon from me." She's like, "Baby, you will debate with anybody. If God came down right now, you would debate with the Lord." So that drove me to send the uh, send my video in to him, and I think it was not even a day later he reached out to me. We had a conversation, and bam, I'm in the group.
That's what's
And
up.
so we've went from just trying to do a podcast and talking about different things, like, hey, man, you see some of these promotion, these 2K promotions, and like, yeah, you're like, man, we could do that. We could do it better. I don't know, man. Yeah, we can. Okay, cool. You got that energy. Me and the other guy, like, yeah, we with it. Let's do it. When we first posted, man, we were shocked because we got over 1,000 people, and this was our first time. And
Wow. That's
it's
what's up.
like, wow, this is crazy. So we keep on. from there, our biggest view, I think, was right under 20,000 for one pay-per-view. And it just blew our mind. So, and like, man, we can do more things. And then we set up, at the same time, we set up a Facebook page,
Okay.
Wrestling Society Network. And oh man, we got people joining. All right, man. We went straight from right off the gate. We came out with like 70 people, and we were just amazed at that. Then it went to 100. Then it went to 2. Then looked up before we knew it. Hell, we're right now, we had almost 1,800 followers.
That's what's up.
And man, we just encourage wrestling. We love wrestling. We go to from we make content like I have on the show called Grassroots, and I like to have independent wrestlers, promoters, referees, just to give them their love and understand that it's not just the AEW and WWE. You got to have this independence and get their name out there. Maybe one day, 5-10 years later, they could be a WWE champion. And like, wow, I interviewed him. Man, he said it. She was determined. So we have a lot of different content that we have on our YouTube page. And one day we were sitting there talking again. Brady is just such a great businessman. And he's like, man, you know what? I think we're gonna do an app, wrestling app. I was like, man, that would be good. We got a lot of content. And he's like, hey, you know what? It's not just gonna be us. We're gonna get other creators and see if they want to join. We're gonna get other wrestling documents, and just we want to do it as a team. So next thing I knew, me and Brady, I started reaching out to people, and Brady was putting it up. And right now, our app is up and going right now. It's on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook. It's on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and the Fire Stick. And we're still looking to get a couple more. We're working on that.
Okay.
And you can go to it right now. You just have to go in any of them. You're looking for WSN, and it'll take you to our page. We got a lot of different different things. We got, like I said, we got local wrestling. We got content creators just giving their version and love for wrestling, and podcasts. So we're trying to make things just for everyone to enjoy. So when you sitting home and, man, I want to watch some wrestling, I want to watch something different, go to our app. Man, we got just a little of everything.
Definitely, because I got a Roku, so I'm definitely gonna look y'all up, and I'm gonna download the app. Are you guys on Amazon, the Fire Stick?
Yes, we are.
Okay, cool. What about the phone apps, Apple and Google?
We actually currently working on that.
Okay, cool.
That's the thing. We have been really just grinding, and after the interview, I got things I got to do for it and do some research. But it's so fun for me, and the respect I have for owners and wrestlers I have got to talk to, it's just a respect thing for me.
Yeah, I definitely feel you, and it's like your story is kind of similar to mine on how you got started with the Wrestling Society Network. So it was the same thing with me. Like, I'm always me and my wife, we're always discussing wrestling, and we're always watching Raw, SmackDown, AEW, And this was some years back, you know, we were talking about it, and she was just like, you know, you need to, you know, start you a podcast or whatever. So I would always go back and forth with it. And I remember I was just telling myself, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So I had started on Anchor, you know, with the Anchor app. And you know, I did maybe like 3 or 4 episodes, just me on there by myself talking about wrestling and stuff. And I actually originally wanted to call it the Too Sweet Podcast because, you know, that was me paying homage to the NWO. That's like my favorite faction. So then, you know, I had stopped for a minute, you know, just working and stuff. And something just told me to just look up the Too Sweet Podcast. And I was like, ah, man, I'm like, it was a whole bunch of podcasts, Too Sweet Podcasts. And I'm just like, no, I can't do it. Whatever I do, whatever I choose for this podcast, it's got to be something that clicks, and it's got to be something that's original. So before I came up with a name, I was just on Facebook looking up different wrestling groups. And this wrestling group that I had found, there was this guy, Crander Q, who hosts the Friends of the Square Circle podcast. Shout out to him. He was looking for just wrestling fans to be guests on his show. So I reached out to him. He reached back out to me, and that was my first time on a podcast as a guest. And after that, me and him became cool, and that gave me that fire. Like, okay, I need to start me a podcast, but I still couldn't think of a name. So I'm just on the internet. I'm like, let me look up. I went on one of those websites where they come up with a name for you and stuff. So I just put in wrestling podcast, and something came up. It was like wrestling from it was a different area code, 218 or something like that. And I just put wrestling from the 313, you know, that's my hometown, Detroit. And I'm like, and I kept saying it. I'm like, this is going to be the name of the podcast. And it's it's been a fun ride since I started this. Got a lot of support from people. A lot of good things just been happening for me personally. Like my podcast is in the media directory now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they reached out to me on the email, and I'm just like, you know, wow, where did this come from? And a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from an online magazine called Voyage Michigan, and I did an interview with them, and the interview went live on their website yesterday.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, so I'll definitely send you a link afterwards or whatever, and I'll definitely put the link in the description of this episode as well. So
Man, I
it's
appreciate
been
that.
it's been a real fun ride, man. You know, and I'm just gonna continue with this and just see where it's gonna go.
Oh yeah. Um that is big, and you I don't know exactly how you feel. I seem like we feel similar way, but man, just like you said, you get a phone call and they're like, "Hey, we watched it. We know what you're doing. We liking what you're doing." It gives you so much.
Yeah,
It gives you that passion. It's like, man, I'm not wasting my time. I thought this little bit is bigger than that. So, dang, if I'm this big, where will I be a year, two, three? And
yeah,
then start just trying to build off of that.
yeah. And that's what my goal is for my podcast is like, because I don't know of too many Michigan wrestling podcasts, and that's something that I want to work on just to, you know, collaborate with them. But I also want my podcast to be a outlet for the independent wrestlers in Michigan, so they can come and tell their story, you know. Um, and like I said, I would like it to be not just a podcast, but just like a brand. You know what I'm saying? I started like a merchandise line, wrestling from the 313shop.com. So yeah, and you know, I got, you know, selling t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts and stuff like that. And you know, I kind of want the rest the merchandise for Wrestling from the 313 to kind of be like what the Detroit versus everybody shirts was, but just for the wrestling community. You know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
you know, it would feel good to just be out somewhere and you see a Wrestling from the 313 T-shirt, or if I'm at a WWE show or an independent show, you know, for you know, something like that. Um, just doing this has just been giving me a lot of ideas about, you know, not just for what I could do for my hometown, but just outside of that too. So, you know, I'm it's really just been getting the wheels rolling for me for sure.
Yeah, definitely understand that. As you see, I got one of our shirts on right now. We working on that merchandising. You
Okay.
know, we are doing like I said, we got a lot of big plans. I can't give all, but one thing I definitely can give that we're working on a website.
Okay.
And that website is going to be similar to our app. We're going to have other content creators on. You be able to post on it and get different views. And like you said, as I'm 50 years old, so I go back to when the independent were just the word I'm looking for. They were regional, and you
Okay.
just
Yeah.
stayed that way for your region. And I
Yeah.
look at this now, I'm like, man, this reminds me of back in the days where everything was starting to get regional. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if I can get you to see something in another region, maybe you will want to see them all the time. Keep up with them. So that's why we encourage different independent organizations to come give us a try to see what we can do to make a good joint effort. Maybe you can get fans. Say you're based out of, I'm in Tennessee. So
Okay.
say I'm based out of Tennessee and get a friend of mine start watching. He gets to watching something in um, California that he didn't know exist. He likes that style. So now he's watching them, telling his friends, hey, man, check this out. This organization does blah, blah, blah. And it gets more eyes on them and different. And that, again, that's the goal for myself is just make it a community where everybody can see and enjoy it, have fun, different debates. And one other thing I, I want to we want to work with other podcasters. Maybe we can set up a game show to test everybody's knowledge
Right.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and just have fun. Like we got a lot of stuff coming and we working on, but we want it not just for us, for everybody. That's why society is a big thing for us. And for us, society is family. We feel like family, we act like family, and we just want everybody to love each other. If you don't like something, that's fine. Just be respectful.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And like I said, for the most part, the wrestling community has very been supportive. They're very respectful and stuff like that. You always have those few that's disrespectful and negative, but for the most part, you know, wrestling is supposed to be fun. You know what I'm saying? It's so many independent promotions out here, and not even that, just the pros. Like, you know, besides WWE, AEW, you got TNA, you got New Japan, you got what's that, MLW, Major League
Yeah,
Wrestling,
Major League.
you got NWA, you know what I'm saying, that's still out here. So it's just like there's so many options. We get the wrestling, there's more options in wrestling than it is in the NBA or basketball or football or baseball, you know what I'm saying? So I think people just need to enjoy it overall because it's at its peak, and it's bigger than it's ever been. And wrestling is just gonna keep getting bigger as time goes.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And see, again, going back to my age, I can remember certain things that I enjoyed. Like you can't see it on camera, but I have a stand of VCR tapes, nothing but wrestling on it. I got I got DVDs of wrestling. You can see in the background, you see all these different game systems. Man,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get every wrestling game out there. Matter of fact, I got all the I got every WCW wrestling game.
That's what's up.
I got I'm missing one of WWE's. And I mean, this goes back to the original Nintendo. I got the
Wow.
first one they came out with. I got WCW first one they came out with. I'm
Wow.
I'm a wrestling fan. If we if we sat and just debated and talked about things, I'm not saying I know everything, but you would probably be surprised of how much I know.
That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing about, just wrestling fans and just talking with others. Everybody's gonna know something different. You know what I'm saying? You might know something that I might not know, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And I used to be the same way. I bought all the video games. I got my belt right here, my NWO belt. That's my first championship belt that I bought. And man, like you said, I'm just a fan. Collected the toys as a kid, the video games, the T-shirts. My dad has old VCR tapes from when Saturday Night's Main Event used to come
Oh
on.
man.
Yeah,
I tell you what you should do. Get those and go have them transferred to DVD.
you know what? I was asking him about that because he got a lot of those tapes where he was just like, he's not even sure if they will play because they've been sitting for so long. Like those tapes are like 40 years old.
Give
So
me
yeah,
1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me show you something.
okay.
I'm telling you, I definitely get it. Uh, this is Slamboree from
Wow.
WCW
Yeah.
DVD, and my goal is one day to get everything that I got on VCR to DVD, then put it on my computer so I have it. I
Yeah.
have different versions of it. It's
Yeah.
I'm telling you, as a and again, I one thing a lot of older wrestlers would say, and it irritates me a little bit, but I get their point, but it irritates me. It's like these new guys don't understand the business. They're making a mockery. They don't know do what we do. Well, in my humble opinion, I think they do new things, and they've maybe seen and listened, but it's them trying to get over and build themselves up.
Yeah.
Not every time. And again, just it's advice. If they don't take your advice, that's fine. You shouldn't be upset about it. I
Yeah.
understand this is a business that you help build, but everybody's not going to take the same advice. Most people will learn it the hard way. So just if you feel like giving advice, great. If they
Yeah.
don't take it or they say something negative about you, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that. And you know, it's just it's just it's kind of messed up that those older guys still have that mentality. And the business has changed. So you know what I'm saying? That old school advice might not work with the era of wrestlers that's coming up now. I mean, that's just even in sports, period. Like, I mean, look, prime example, basketball. Look how many people talk about how they don't play defense now like they did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. Times are changing. So, I just think that's just one of them things. That's just a a hard pill to swallow for most old school cats.
Yeah, they don't adjust. We all have to adjust. One thing been told, no matter what, you're gonna have to adjust to the environment because the environment never stays the same. It evolves. So we have to evolve. And you know, I'm an old school wrestling fan. I love some people will take this and run with it and not like it, but I love AEW. I love the stories they tell in the ring. Yes, some of the things they're doing is questionable or silly, but it's their style. That's fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. I mean, you're welcome to your opinion, just like I am, but because I say I like it, don't try to start trashing me. It's what I like.
Yeah.
And I'd show you the same respect. We might laugh about something, and it's wrestling. In the end, we should be happy. We got all this different wrestling. We could. There was a time it was only certain days you could see wrestling.
Yup.
Now
Yup.
you can see it if you want.
Every
You can watch
day
it every day. Yeah, exactly.
Yup. Because I remember me growing up. The only days you could see wrestling was on the weekend. Then as we got into the 90s, that's when WWE had Monday Night Raw. And that's when WCW came along with Nitro. Then SmackDown was flip-flopping on Thursdays, Tuesdays, Fridays. Then you had Thunder. Then TNA came along. They were coming on. So yeah, and just now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and depending on if you got the Access Network on your cable network watching TNA, that's every day of the week. So yeah.
And I enjoy. I I'm so much of a fan where sometimes I get so lost. I could be doing three things and watching wrestling, and I would stop watching and start doing something. Then I think to myself, wait a minute, wrestling. Let me get back to this. Or vice versa. I get so caught up in wrestling, I stop doing what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
It's just so much. And a lot of stuff you can take now. You can record it. You can watch it at your leisure.
Yeah.
Man, this is a great blessing to
Yeah.
be a wrestling fan right now.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So I know you mentioned something about AEW. So yesterday they showed the CM Punk Jack Perry tape. What did you think about that segment? Because I'm gonna give my opinion, but I want to hear what you feel about that.
Okay, well, right off the rip, I'm sick of it. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Punk and Perry. I'm sick of them keep mentioning Brawl Out. All that stuff is immaterial to me. I don't care. If now, as far as the video, it was like, okay, you could go into I challenge anybody to go into any locker room and see something like that happen, because it does. It wasn't such a blown out great deal, but I understand where they came. I understand why the AEW did what they did. We of course didn't have any audio, so we couldn't hear what they were saying to each other.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get upset, and Punk, the reputation for Punk, it didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But I think it's gone on too long. The man is gone from your company. Why in the world do you want to keep giving him press? Because in the end, whether you took his side, the Jack Perry side, or AEW side, it does no good.
Yeah.
You end up looking like idiots. That's my take on it.
I totally agree. I don't know if you agree, if you're going to agree with this, but I'm gonna say this. I think that was their finger poke of doom.
What was funny? I've heard that term so much today, looking at different podcasts and stuff.
Man, I thought, I was thinking that all day today when I was at work, and I saw somebody post that on my timeline when I was on Facebook, and I was gonna like it, but I was like, nope, I'm not gonna. I agree with what he's saying, but I'm not gonna like it just on the strength of I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking his statement. So I said, nope, I'm just gonna wait, talk about it on the podcast. But yeah, that was their finger poke of doom. Me personally, looking at the video and keep it real, it was nothing where it was just like, oh, it was must see TV. To me, that video was the equivalent of two teammates on a sports team getting into it on the bench. That's what
I couldn't have said it any better.
that's all it was. Like, they had a disagreement. You know, Jack Perry said what he said. Punk didn't like it. Of course, you know, Punk pushed him first. You know what I'm saying? They probably, and it looked like they were scuffling or tussling. You know how they start a match off when they locked up.
Yeah,
It looked like, you know what I'm saying? It was nothing where nobody was throwing any blows. They soon as they locked up and started tussling, it was broken up. And I think it was a desperation plea from AEW. They thought they were going to get ratings for it. They thought it was going to be must-see TV, and they really just could have kept that tape at AEW at the head office, because I don't think it's going to help them at all. I think that was their finger poke of doom.
what was the first thing I thought of is when they started and Samoa Joe came over and grabbed Perry and pulled him off of him. I thought to myself, man, that makes me think of when my kids were little and they would get into it and I just come over and grab both of them. Man,
Yeah.
get over here. Stop that. You know better than that. You know better.
That's all it was. That's all it was. And it's just like, I think they invested too much of something that was months ago, and when you could be investing in some of these stars that's trying to get on the show, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's gonna hurt them. I don't think it's gonna be a fatal blow where they just gonna go out of business next week, but it can, they might lose some fans, and especially with the way WWE has been booming in this past year. Like, get it together, AEW, or you know, you don't want to have Triple H coming up on Dynamite talking about he on AEW. For real.
Right. I think again, I take it as growing pains.
Yeah.
We because Tony Khan is new in this business. He's only been in it for 5 years. So okay, you're gonna make mistakes and stuff. And you can, like you said, we can get past it, we're gonna grow from it. But you got to have a good team around you to help you understand what's the best thing for the company, not just you because you own it.
Exactly.
You have to be mindful and willing to take criticism and stuff. Like, it does no good. That tape should have never came out. I don't care what anybody say. It puts a worse look to you as a company and as a businessman.
Yeah.
So okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna have new rules. We're not gonna mention WWE. I don't care what, if they said my mama stink, y'all better not say a word back to them. We are about our brand. We're gonna prove to everybody why we are coming up and why we not are number one, where we're gonna get to be number one. You just got to play as one of my favorite quotes, this is chess, not checkers.
Yup.
You
Yup.
you got to be strategic. And again, and after all that, I always say, but hey, what did I know? I'm just a wrestling fan.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, and they have a very, very good roster, and it's just like you got a good roster, and not only that, you got two brands. Take some of that talent, put some of that talent on Ring of Honor, keep some of that talent on AEW. And I've said this on a couple of my episodes and on other podcasts I've been on. Out of those three shows AEW has, one of those should be a Ring of Honor show. That's my opinion. And it's like Ring of Honor, you bought this company that was, going bankrupt and about to go out of business. Take that company and give it the exposure that it never had when they were run before he bought the company. You know what I'm saying? That would have been the perfect opportunity. They could have put Ring of Honor on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So I that's just my opinion. And hopefully they get that, hopefully, somebody from AEW is watching this and they think about it.
Man, they really should. Like I love Ring of Honor, and at some point I understand why they are not on TV. It's they wanted to have the original feel of Ring of Honor, being that company that you want to see and you can get a little taste. It's kind of underground, but it's not. But they have talent. One of the biggest problems I have with AEW and Ring of Honor, you have the Ring of Honor champions on AEW.
Yeah.
And most times they end up jobbing or they look bad. Then you expect me to go to Ring of Honor and watch them when they couldn't handle. And it's not like it's different people either. It'd be the same people they'll bring over. And it's like, wait a minute. You got two different companies. Separate them. Put some energy into it. Like, and you have one of the best workers in the world, Athena, their women's world champion. She has been putting on bangers. When I say bangers, I mean banger of matches. That just it's been crazy. That's what you need. And then you look at AEW, it's like you got the same four women going for the title. This don't make sense. You got a great roster, bring them over, build them up. And then it's just like I'm looking at, like, I watched the pay-per-view. And again, I'm a AEW mark. I don't have no problem saying that. I love the pay-per-view. They put on one hell of a show, but I want to know who's going to be on the show before the pay-per-view. I don't want to see the pay-per-view and then, oh, well, hey, our champion's on. You didn't build them. You didn't build it up. You didn't give me I like the build. Again, build me up, get me interested.
Yeah.
And it's like y'all don't. Again, I wish that Tony Khan, if I had one wish, I wish Tony Khan would call me and say, "Hey, I need you to run Ring of Honor for me." I'll be like, "Yes." Now, can I bring my team? I need my team. We are a team, so we got to come together. And one of the first things I would tell him, keep any wrestlers that you want for AEW. We need to separate. Let me build this back to what it needs to be. Stop. No, you can't have none of my champions on your show. None. I don't care what reason. They will not be on your show. I want people to get the argument of who's the better world champion, AEW or Ring of Honor. You ask somebody now, of course, Ring of Honor, AEW, why would I want the Ring of Honor title?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I definitely agree. And then it's like, they added 2 mid-card titles. Like me personally, I don't mind them having as many championships as they have because they have a very large roster. But it's like some of those belts is like, what's the point? Like, what's the point to the Continental Crown Championship? Now, one of the matches, I think they had announced the rules is basically no interference. You know, it's just basically the 2 wrestlers in the ring or whatever. But it's like, I would rather them do a cruiserweight division or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just think that some of the stuff, it just gotta have some meaning behind it. Like just like the international championship. Is it their version of the Intercontinental Championship, or is it the Continental Crown? Like, and we all know the TNT and the TBS titles are like the television championships or whatever. But like you said, they women's division, they keep showing the same four women. They need to expand it out more. And I wouldn't even mind seeing some women's tag title too. So um, they have the talent to do a lot. They just got to put their mind to it and just be strategic with it, like you said.
Yeah. Speaking of the women's division, what do you? I'm gonna pose this question. What do you think about AK used to be known as Sasha Bank Monet's her run so far?
Um, I'm kind of not feeling the CEO character just on the strength of, because it's like she's kind of looking, she's kind of looking like cheap. You know, not cheap, but it's just like you know what I'm saying. I'm
No,
trying not
no,
to.
I feel exactly what you're saying. It she for all this, everything she's saying she is. You ain't did crap. That was over there. You got to prove it
Yeah,
to us.
yeah, and it's like I know she, won the championship in New Japan, and like I know she can't use the whole boss thing, but it's like I don't know. I'll just put it like this: in a couple of years, she'll be back in WWE. I'll just put it like that. She'll be back in WWE, especially if these WrestleManias keep getting better and better every year. Yeah, she'll be back in WWE.
The one big positive though, I would give her, and I'm so glad that she got the money she
Yeah,
deserved. And
yeah,
it's because women do not get treated equally as men, excuse me. And I want women to be able to earn the money just as good as the men. Willow Nightingale, she is just awesome. I love
yeah,
her.
yeah,
Statlander, she is great.
yeah,
Um, all these different women have now a chance to say, "Hey, I'm worth just as much as this person." I look at the ratings that I did and different things. So I would love equal play and money for them, but when you're only having one match per show, that's a big you need. I wish they would expand that a little more and give them more storylines. It's I hate most women are fighting because you're not my friend and you threw something on me in the back and we're gonna fight over that. It's like
right, right.
what what?
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree. And I said that I was on the Joe Monroe show last week, and that was one of the things that I said. I told was telling him that what she did is gonna open up doors for women, not just women's wrestlers, but I think male wrestlers are underpaid too. Like I remember when Forbes used to put out the article of what WWE wrestlers make in a year, and some of that is pathetic, man. Like especially with some of the women make. I told him, and this is just my opinion, a wrestler should be making no less than $5 million a year, especially with all this money that they're making off the merchandise, the video games. the events alone. Like WrestleMania, this WrestleMania 40 was probably one of the most, if not the most successful WrestleMania of all time. So it's like you getting all this money and you just merged with UFC. Give some of that money to the wrestlers, like for real.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I I think a lot of people, and there's wrestlers who are up in the millions and making money, but the credit, you have to give credit to jobbers
Yeah.
because it gives, they are giving their body and their talent to make your superstars look as great as they look.
Exactly.
And you can't just be dismissive of them. I don't know their contracts and nothing like that, but you know, I've heard like they got to, some wrestlers have to pay for their own transportation. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you making enough money. Well, we say enough money, but you got to make people feel wanted and do certain things to help them. I understand you, they may not want to, they, if they pay for everybody's travel expense, that will bring their net worth down. I get that. But make it on a scale. Make people like, hey, you do this much for me. Next year, we're gonna pay for your travel expense as a thank you.
Yeah.
Give them a motive and incentive to continue doing what they're doing. These people are on the road, leaving their families, putting their bodies on the line. Man, we can be more appreciative, and y'all can give more, give them more, and just simple stuff. Just remember, you remember when they stopped letting them be on social media because they found out they were making, some of them making more money on the social media than they was on their contract.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna get mad, tell them they got to stop. Then you're gonna redo it, but you want your cut. But you didn't put the work in. You didn't do this. I'm an independent contractor, ain't I? So why should I give you a dime of what I'm hustling up when you already making money off of me? That's just like, and I probably shouldn't use this term, but I am. That's just like going up to a slave and like, well, man, you picked that cotton. Okay, I'm gonna give you one, but I'm gonna take a bite of that one too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Look, here's the apple. Here's your apple. Oh, wait a minute, we got to cut 10% off the apple. Then we got to pay 20% for this and this, and then they just left with the core. Like, there you go. You should be happy. Don't ask no questions.
Right.
Come on.
So real quick, WrestleMania was this past weekend. It was said that it was one of the most successful WrestleManias of all time. What did you think of WrestleMania this past weekend? What were some of your favorite matches? Do you think it's one of the best? Triple H has said that he think it was this WrestleMania 40 is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. What do you think?
So I know my opinion is not going to be popular, but night one for me was better than night two.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. I love both nights. The pacing, they were smart on their pacing. Night one just flowed.
Yeah.
I loved it. Night two did the same thing, but it gave you some traditional stuff like the Hall of Famers came out. They did behind the scene, the backstage stuff. And it was, like I said, it was great for that reason. The feel, like I telling one of my co-hosts, we were watching it together doing it live, and I'm like, man, it's already at the main event. What? Man, this is great. It just flows so well that I didn't think about time. The pacing was good. One of my favorite, I tell you, three of my favorite matches. Two of them are night one. The other one is night two.
Okay.
Was the tag team match. Oh my God, did they go and show out? To me, I loved it. I loved the pacing. I loved the everything about it. I love, of course, you can't help but love R-Truth.
Yeah.
You get a tag in a ladder match and have the crowd pop. Come on. So
Yeah.
that one and the Gunther and Sami Zayn match.
Yeah.
The reason I love that match is because Gunther did something he has never did in the whole title reign that he had. He was more caught up with messing with Sammy's wife than putting him away. He didn't think nothing about him. That just showed you the disrespect. He's like, see, I'm beating your husband. He has nothing. La, 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 la. And Gunther never does that. When he's in the ring, he respects whoever he's wrestling, and he just goes. That was his fatal flaw, and I loved it because it gave a story. It ran good. Like I said, I loved it. And the last one, I love the Cody and Roman because I knew Cody was going to get the title. I love how they structured it for the first half. It was no interference. Yeah. Then they started throwing everybody started coming. Everybody started coming. I was like, okay, I'm feeling it. Then the Shield music played. And me and my other co-host was watching it. He's like, "Oh man, Dean Ambrose coming out." I'm telling you, Dean. I'm like, man, ain't no way in the man. If he came out, I would eat my TV. And so of course Seth came out, and Roman got, and that's what cost Roman because he was so caught up with getting revenge on Seth. They're paying Cody the attention it needed to be. That's why those were the best matches for me. Oh, and one more just to mention. Who was it? Not Charlotte. I don't know why I keep thinking Charlotte. Rhea Ripley.
Oh, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch.
That match was a lot better than I thought it was. I can't even lie. They put on a tremendous match.
Yeah, that's what's and they said that Becky Lynch had a 102 degree fever in that match too. So she was wrestling and she was sick and still able to put on a good match. So yeah, that's what's up. You know, kudos to her. Definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree that night one was better. I definitely agree that Gunther and Sami Zayn was one of the better matches. That gave off so many Rocky vibes in that storyline. So many Rocky vibes. It's like Sammy is Rocky, Gunther is like Mr. T or Drago.
Yeah.
and Gable was Apollo Creed. That's exactly what it was. But they told a good story. The match was good. It was good to see Sam. I was kind of surprised to see Sammy win, but I'm kind of happy because Gunther's done everything with the Intercontinental title, and it's time to move on to the world title, world heavyweight.
Exactly. That's why I wasn't surprised he won, because it's like, okay, the dominance, the shirt, and not just the dominance. They've put him up on so many different wrestling styles of the wrestlers, and he's able to adjust. And man, imagine, I tell somebody, by next year, Gunther is going to have a world title.
Yeah, I agree.
If they don't, they are idiots.
Yeah. I got three people that's future world champions in 2024. I got him, Gunther. I got Jey Uso. I think he's going to be a future world champion, and I don't think he's not on the main roster, but I got Trick Williams being the NXT champion. A future NXT champion, not necessarily world champion, but I do see him being like a main guy in NXT.
It's funny. I saw this meme and they were talking about Samoa Joe, and then they said everywhere Joe went, he was a world champion. And I'm like, what? No, he wasn't in WWE. And they actually count NXT as a world title. And I'm and that bothered me. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, but no. But hey, Samoa Joe is my guy. So if you want to give him props, give him props.
yeah, yeah. The other two matches that were my favorite, the one that I was surprised about was Damian Priest cashing in the Money in the Bank. Because when Drew McIntyre won, I'm like, okay, they let him win. He must have re-signed with the company. But then when I saw Damian Priest come down and cash in, I'm like, no, Drew didn't sign with the re-sign with the company. Because I just don't see them putting the belt on him if he didn't re-sign. You know what I'm saying? He'd probably pretty much be a 2-month champion. But I understand why they did it that way. Let Drew have his moment that he didn't have when he won the world title because of COVID. But at the same time, you're going to lose the belt and we're going to put it on somebody that has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and pretty much he's put the work in and he deserved it.
I tell you, I was telling, we did a prediction show, and I kept telling him, I said, Drew's gonna lose, and Monday night, Damian's gonna cash in. That's the only thing that was wrong with it. Personally, I would have waited until Monday night to do it because no cash in whatever tops Seth Rollins when he ran in and did the 3-way. Nobody's gonna top that.
Yeah.
So I get it. I knew they were going to do that spot. And I told a friend of mine, I said, yeah, they're going to win. I said, but we truly don't know if he's re-signed. I said, even if they give him the belt, he could drop it because Damian. Yeah. It happened. We still don't know. But that's what I like. I don't need to know everything to enjoy it. Let it be a little mystery to me. Let me fantasize. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And the last match that I think was my favorite, and just hearing the backstory on it, like you said, the tag ladder match, I definitely agree with that. That was actually R-Truth's first win at WrestleMania. He's never won a WrestleMania. So for him, 52 years old, the work that he's put in for WWE with his character, and then coming off an injury almost a year ago.
Yeah.
That he was in NXT and he injured his leg. Yeah. To come back from that, you know what I'm saying? R-Truth, that's one guy that I would like to see get like a small little title run, or not even if he don't win the title, at least challenge for the title.
Yeah. I enjoyed that too. Probably the best thing for me was Monday night when the Judgment Day was holding the title and he walked in and held up the title. Love R-Truth. He plays that so well. And and it's funny. I actually called the ladder match right too. I told him Grayson Waller and Austin Theory was going to win. I was like, because they don't have anything on SmackDown, let them do it. They've been doing great work.
Yeah.
Let them have the title and make the faces chase them. Because it's more fun when the faces chase for the title than the faces having the title and the heels chase.
Yeah. And then too, they kind of they kind of link up with Logan Paul a lot. So, they can be kind of a faction, and they can kind of run around and talk junk about having all the gold and stuff like that. They kind of remind me of like a baby Miz Taraj a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Remember when the Miz was with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas? They kind of the Miz Taraj a little bit, but just B level.
That is cool. And I think the more I think about it, I love it because, like you said, there is like the Miz, but they're not dumb. They're not. They can be funny, but they can be deadly when they need to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just to go back what you were talking about as far as like the pace, everything flowed with WrestleMania. It was like, and it went off at a reasonable time. It went off like before 11, a little bit after 11. They went off enough at a good time where if you stayed up to watch the press conference, it didn't feel like you was up to 1:32 in the morning trying to hear, you know, what they're going to say after WrestleMania and stuff like that. The only thing that was missing for me was the surprise factor of WrestleMania. It wasn't really that many surprises. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that signing of a wrestler that they kind of kept under wraps that would get that huge pop or whatever. But other than that, it was a good WrestleMania. Do I think it's one of the greatest ever? No. But I do agree that it's one of the most successful. I saw something on, they were saying on Peacock that WrestleMania 40 was their most streamed anything ever. Like that had the most streams. I think they said 1 billion minutes or something like that was streamed
Wow.
with WrestleMania. Yeah, so yeah, that was real big. But I know Peacock gonna miss it once they move over to Netflix.
Man, I'm so waiting for them to go on Netflix, because then I think they're gonna cut loose a little bit.
Yeah, and I think when they put all the content on Netflix, because all the content, the PLEs and stuff, is going to Netflix. Hopefully, they put the original and not all the stuff that's been blurted out or taken out when they went to Peacock.
Right. That would be nice, because I hate watching something and I'm like, wait a minute, where is it? I know it was there. I saw it before. This is
Yeah.
BS. And then I pull up, look on the tape of my VCR, like, yeah, I knew it was there. I knew it was there. They messing with the tape. They trying to make you forget this. Nah, they ain't about to Chris Benoit me and make me not uh, remember stuff. Mm-mm.
Right. Definitely. Well, you know what, Professor Bear, I want to thank you for stopping by, coming, being on the show, telling your story, talking about Wrestling Society Network. Is it anything that you want to plug? Any shout outs you want to give out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching this and who will watch it. It's I thank you, because you are just as much as a part of this as we are. We just love wrestling, and I'm just blessed, and and Mike's blessed that we just get a chance to do something that puts wrestling hopefully in a better light and get to go. So again, thank you for that. Please go on Amazon, on Fire Stick, on Roku, on Apple TV, and our app. You'll find it under WSN. You'll see our logo. Please, I'm telling you, you will find something. If it ain't the independent wrestling shows, the documentaries, the interviews, we will find something that you will like and love, and you'll definitely want to pass it on to your friends and let them know about it. And
Sweet.
and one more thing, I want to thank you for letting me come on. And
No problem.
this ain't the this ain't the last time. I know we're gonna do some stuff together. We're gonna blow it up. I know we are.
Oh yeah, definitely. And thank you, you know what I'm saying, for coming on, and like you said, we definitely work together, get some things, do some things together, and it does, like you said, blow it up, you know what I'm saying, take over the world.
Exactly.
That's what's up. So thank you, Professor Bear. Before I get up out of here, I want to give a couple shout outs. Shout out to Crander Q from Friends of the Square Circle, JD from Mayhem Media, Joe Moreau from the Joe Moreau Show, Sampin Chance from the Sampin Chance Show, and just all the podcasters. Shout out to Professor Bear, Wrestling Society Network. Check them out. YouTube, Facebook, Roku, just show us both some love, you know, and we just gonna keep doing what we do out here. For Professor Bear, I'm your boy Mike D. Holla at you soon. Peace.